Hi, and this is the film Until Dawn. A group of friends stop for the night in an abandoned house in the forest where a masked maniac hunts them. Very soon it becomes clear that the group is trapped in a time loop, and every night new monsters come for them. Either you survive the night or you become part of it. The film opens with a terrified girl in a narrow underground tunnel. She claws her way toward the surface. She manages to dig herself out of the ground, only to find someone already waiting for her, a figure in a mask, holding a pickaxe. The girl begs for mercy, saying she's tired of dying, but the maniac silences her with a single blow. The story shifts to a group of friends riding in a car. They are following the trail of Melanie, the sister of Clover, who disappeared a year ago. After their mother's death, Melanie went traveling, occasionally sending videos from various stops, and then suddenly stopped responding. To come to terms with her disappearance, Clover and her friends decide to follow the same route. The group arrives at a rural gas station near Hartley, the last known location of the missing girl. Megan, who believes she has psychic abilities, suggests holding hands to sense the energy of the place. The others don't believe in the supernatural, but they go along with the ritual anyway. Inside the shop, Clover asks the clerk named Hill if he has seen her sister. The man says that people often disappear in these parts, in a place called Clover Valley, further down the road. The self-appointed support squad heads there, but on the way they get caught in a brutal downpour. Given Clover's fear of thunderstorms and the terrible visibility, the driver, Abe, is relieved when the car exits the rain and reaches a dry patch. However, the area looks suspicious. A quaint pastoral hotel house with an ancient grave on the lawn, and the fact that the bad weather seems to avoid this place as if it's under a massive dome. Deciding it's better to stay here than search for a detour through the storm, the group enters the house. Only Clover, mesmerized by the wall of rain, approaches the boundary of the bad weather. She thinks she hears her sister calling to her and sees her silhouette in the curtain of water. Max, Clover's ex-boyfriend, follows her. Inside the house, time seems frozen more than 20 years ago. The calendar still shows a date from the previous millennium. Nina notices an unusual hourglass and a guest book where she jokingly writes her name. Her boyfriend, filming everything on his smartphone, discovers a bulletin board that looks like a missing persons notice wall. Since there's been no police here for a long time, no one is searching for the missing either. Among the photos is Melanie. At that moment, the sun sets. Max pulls Clover out of the rain, where she had gotten lost. Nina flips through the guest book and finds Melanie's name repeated 13 times. Each subsequent entry becomes more and more illegible. It turns out the hotel stands at the entrance to Clover Valley. Now they have proof that Melanie disappeared here. Nina notices that the hourglass has been flipped and is counting down backward under the pull of gravity. Abe asks the classic question, "Dude, where's my car? Someone has moved it into the rain." Realizing that whoever is driving has unfriendly intentions, the group decides to stay inside. With no mobile signal, in true horror fashion, they split up to search for a landline phone. Clover, Megan, and Max head into the basement, which looks suspiciously well maintained. It even has windows and doors. They find a non-working phone and a radio. When Abe steps away, Nina hears a strange noise. She goes to investigate and finds the masked maniac pinning her boyfriend to the wall. Her scream brings the others upstairs, just in time to see the killer live up to his nickname. He kills Nina. Max, apparently deciding that since this is a video game adaptation, the villain wants to play a game, suggests hide and seek. The survivors hide while the maniac searches the house. When he passes by, Max tries to strike first, smashing a chair over the killer's head, but the head turns out to be tougher than a tank turret. Taking the broken chair leg, the maniac stabs it into Max's head. When he enters the room, Clover quietly grabs a knife. The killer finds Megan hiding in a closet and methodically tries to hammer the idea into her skull that she's unlucky. When her face becomes a bloody mess, Clover realizes it's time and plunges the knife into the killer's back. She then runs out of the house. In the forest, Clover sees her sister's silhouette just before a pickaxe strikes her in the back, ending her existence. The hourglass flips, sealing the time loop. The group finds themselves back at the beginning, with memories of what happened. However, something has changed. Their photos now appear on the missing persons board, and the front door starts slamming on its own. Sensitive to the paranormal, Megan says things have gotten worse. Suddenly, her body twists. She screams so loudly that light bulbs shatter. Using flashlights, the friends find Megan floating above the floor in the room with the board. Possessed by spirits, she speaks on behalf of the missing, saying horrifying things. The seance ends with a warning not to let her in, after which she falls dead with a broken neck. Outside, they hear Melanie screaming, begging to be let in. Ignoring the warning, Max opens the door. Clover runs outside, but no one is there. Instead, the scenery has changed. Across from the hotel stands an old house with the word witch written on it. An invisible force throws Clover toward it, locking the others inside the hotel. Back at the hotel, Max wants to follow her, but Abe and Nina convince him they should go for help instead. After an argument, the group splits up. Regaining consciousness, Clover explores the house filled with creepy busts. She notices a working TV, which an old woman wearing an oxygen mask is watching. When Clover tries to leave, the woman rises and approaches her, saying the only way out is to survive until dawn. Otherwise, she will become part of this place. Grabbing Clover, the witch infects her with a curse through the mask, then crumbles into dust. Meanwhile, Max enters the house as Abe and Nina run to the car. They drive into the rain and see, in flashes of lightning, a massive creature blocking the road. Abe reverses, only to find the familiar masked maniac waiting behind them. He calmly kills the escapees. Max wanders through the witch's house searching for Clover. On the second floor, he finds a room full of toys, including a rocking chair with a ragged clown. When he kicks the toy, possessed Clover in a mask appears and kills her ex-boyfriend. Leaving the house, she is run over by a car driven by the maniac. The time loop closes again, beginning the third run. Analyzing what they know, the friends barricade the entrances and decide to wait out the night in the bathroom. Abe drinks water from the tap and passes the glass around. Megan notices her hair falling out, and Max sees his fingers beginning to change. They are slowly becoming part of this place. Their discussion is interrupted by Abe. He starts coughing violently and suddenly explodes, splattering everything with chunks. Bits of him land in Nina's mouth, leaving a disgusting taste that even champagne can't wash away. She drinks more tap water and explodes as well. The survivors flee the bathroom. In the hallway, Megan explodes too, but not immediately. First her leg, then her torso, then her head. Clover begs Max to kill her, and then himself to reset the timer. He says the sand in the hourglass is almost gone. They're close to winning. She insists they still have many attempts left. The guest book suggests previous guests lasted 13 times each. Max is physically aroused, but can't bring himself to kill her. When his head explodes, a disappointed Clover lies down on the floor. At that moment, Hill, the gas station clerk with a US astronaut's face, enters the room. He says you can't survive by just waiting and doing nothing. Clover's head explodes, and the loop resets. The friends go to the basement to study newspapers and understand what they're dealing with. Clover finds documents belonging to Dr. Hill, a psychotherapist who came to town after a tragedy, a mining collapse that buried the entire town underground. That's why the basement looks nothing like a basement. It's actually the first floor, with an underground passage behind the front door. Max finds a VHS tape with recordings of Dr. Hill. Hill conducts experiments on people, placing them in extreme conditions to turn them into Wendigos, mythical, cannibalistic creatures from indigenous legends. Transformation requires 3 nights. After watching the tape, Dr. Hill contacts them over the radio. He says there's one way out. Sacrifice one of them. Finding a map of the town, the friends figure out where Hill might be hiding. To lure him out, Clover offers to meet him alone. Hill agrees. Clover leaves, and the others argue again. Abe wants to leave immediately, while the others want to understand how. Nina resolves the issue radically, impaling her boyfriend with a pickaxe. They're going to die anyway, so why wait? She stays with him. Max and Megan run after Clover. Along the way, they see the sunken remains of the town. In the forest, a Wendigo attacks them, forcing them to flee. Megan falls through a glass roof into a building. Max continues alone and finds Clover trapped in a bear trap. As he tries to free her, Melanie appears transformed into a Wendigo. She doesn't recognize her sister. Max snaps a trap onto her head to distract her and escapes with Clover. They hide in a shed. Clover asks Max to kill her to reset the timer. Reluctantly, he cuts her throat with a shard of glass. After drinking explosive water from a damaged pipe, Max confronts Melanie before he himself explodes. Clover wakes up. She learns Abe is slowly mutating, but the others hide the truth from him. They realize they've spent 13 nights in the hotel, even though they remember only 5. According to the guest book, this is their final attempt. Even the outside landscape has changed. The town is rising from the grave. Megan is missing. Abe suspects she was the first to become part of the place. They watch recordings from Abe's phone, showing how they died in countless ways. Parasites, monsters, curses. In one video, Megan enters the tunnel after Dr. Hill. When zombies approach the house, Clover suggests escaping through the tunnel. They emerge into the underground ruins, where Wendigos roam. They manage to barricade the entrance, but the masked maniac crashes through the glass roof, separating Clover from the others. The friends confront the killer. Unlike before, his head finally gives in. Using his hammer, they smash his skull. Clover continues on, is attacked by her mutated sister, and kills her by impaling her. Clover reaches an abandoned clinic filled with evidence of Hill's experiments. She finds Megan alive, but chained in front of a captive Wendigo. Clover searches for keys and ends up in Hill's office, full of surveillance monitors and patient files, including a character from the original video game. Dr. Hill enters with a cup of coffee. He explains that everything is a manifestation of Clover's psychological trauma after her mother's death, unique to each patient, like Silent Hill. While he talks, Clover subtly moves the cup under dripping water. Mixing the coffee with explosive water, she sets it back. Hill drinks and explodes into pieces. Clover retrieves the keys and frees Megan. They escape upward as the hourglass reaches its final grains. The Wendigos grab their legs, but the others appear and pull them out just as the last grain falls. Dawn breaks. The rain barrier vanishes. Freedom is achieved, paid for by Hill's death. They get into the car and drive away. In Hill's office, the monitors switch to a snow-covered mountain hotel as a car approaches, a nod to the original game.